Happy birthday, Renee.
Thank
Happy
you,
birthday.
Magic.
How, I mean, is it today the big day?
Today's the big day, and I do want to share with everyone that for the first time ever, I had a happy birthday sung to me in Polish. So, Magic, if you don't know, Magic is a music major, so he can hold a tune, and he did a beautiful job singing me happy birthday in his native language, and I am honored and I'm so happy to be here and thank you. And I could not think of another way to start my day because I'm in California today, so it's Pacific. It's 8 in the morning. Than to spend it with you, Magic. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And again, all the best, Renee. I wish you, I guess, fulfillment. I wish you success with Clean Canvas Consulting. Obviously, that's a given. Uh, I, I wish you that you, for another, at least for another 50 years, continue to inspire others, to get people around you, because people like being around you and working with you, like I do. Um, well, we'll see what there are already some comments. All right. So happy birthday from Pervinka.
Thank you.
Hello, and Kenya. Hello, Kenya.
Thank you.
You're so kind. You're so kind,
Yeah.
ladies. So what is your plan, Vene? Tell
They
us about your plan for the birthday.
they would sing me Las Mañanitas. Kenya
Las
and Pervinka.
mañanitas.
Las Mañanitas would be what they would sing me if I were. I'm sure they'll send me a WhatsApp voice recording. Um, and what is up for today? So there's a lot of exciting things happening. I am releasing a book in August, and this week I've been working with my publisher all week here in California. We've got the cover, we've got a lot of the content that we're editing and rewriting some pieces, and there's the process of. It's interesting because I wrote a dissertation, and that's an interesting process, but that's scholarly writing, which is very different. Um, but it's similar in the writing process that it's very iterative. You write and you rewrite, and then you
Uh-huh.
write and you rewrite, and it's also you don't do it in an order of chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. The sequences are not what I think. I don't know about other people, but I was under the wrong impression that you just kind of sit down and you write chapter 1, chapter 2, and it's naturally organized, and it's just this great process, right? And it's kind of a chaotic process, honestly. You kind of write snippets of things here and there, and bits and pieces, and pages here, pages there, and then you work with someone like I'm working with Shireen Rivera, who is my publisher, and she's like the publisher, the editor, the project manager, she kind of pulls me from the ledge when I am freaking out a little bit, right? And says, everything's going to be okay. This is going to work out. So like anything, right? The writing of a book is a team sport.
Okay.
And I've learned that to be successful, you have to depend on people that have experience in those areas. Like I don't know anything about publishing a book, right? or or a lot of components, and she has been amazing, and I'm very blessed to have her. I thank Montserrat. Montserrat Lascano. She
Yes.
introduced me to Shireen. And I don't know if you know Carlos Quesada, but Carlos just published a book with Shireen about the immigrants' journey into technology, into high tech. And so it's just I'm blessed to be surrounded by such wonderful, talented people, and I can learn from. So yeah.
But you have an interesting story to tell, Renee. I'm pretty sure. I mean, you shared with me the kind of a high level structure of
Yes.
everything. It's very, very, very interesting. I cannot wait. I hope. When is the book? When am I getting the copy? Next
Yes.
week?
No, not next week. But you'll probably be getting something at before August, because I have selected a few people. You are among them, to read it and then write a little review that's actually going to go in the book. And
Oh,
so yeah, so you'll be quoted in the book, Magic. That'll be awesome, right?
that would be the first time, I guess.
Well, maybe the first of many, right? So yeah, it's been very exciting, and it actually goes very much in line with today's law, right? And for those of you joining us, he's getting the slides ready, but today is the last law of the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. And the law says a leader's lasting value is measured by succession. um, succession can be defined in many different ways. We naturally think of succession like when you leave a job, and somebody else takes over your job. For those who follow me frequently, you know that this week I posted about my red nails. And the reason that that's important is because the succession in that case was the succession from my mom as the family matriarch, the leader of the family, passing that torch to me. And now you'll see a lot of red nails as a result. It was her signature color, and it was something that was very meaningful for many reasons. It's in the cover of my book, but it all ties back to leaving a legacy that people won't forget. And writing a book is a great way to leave a legacy. So I'm so excited. Yeah.
And the law is basically advocating, and I decided to
Oh, I love Apple.
illustrate the law with two great leaders, in
Yeah.
my opinion, and especially with a special focus on Steve Jobs, who unfortunately passed away in 2011. But
Hmm.
even though he's no longer with us for such a long time, his presence and his impact on everything we as people do is still
Hmm.
very, very visible, right?
Oh, yeah.
He has
Mm.
built the organization, he has built the way of thinking, he has built um, you know a certain ecosystem that we still leverage and we take advantage of. But he also built a leadership, a
Bench.
follower, or a
Hmm.
leadership bench, yes.
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, Invested and brought Tim Cook to take over from him,
Mhm.
and Tim obviously is driving the company. What's 13 years, right?
Yeah.
12,
Mhm.
13 years in
Mhm.
the same approach, same way,
Mhm.
really paying attention to basically to the direction that Steve Jobs has set for Apple. At least that's
Mhm.
my feeling, Renee.
Yeah, and it's funny. I study Apple quite a bit as well. They're a fascinating company from a leadership perspective, not just because they're a technology leader, but from the leadership philosophy. And it is no secret that Jobs was very difficult as a leader. He was very tough, he was very strict. If I were giving him a disc analysis, I'm sure he's a dominant, right? He's the D. Um, but he was also, it's interesting to see. You have to look at, I was looking at one of his videos the other day where he was talking about the marketing campaign Think Again. That was the first marketing campaign that he launched when he took over. So for those of you who are not familiar with the Apple history, Jobs was fired by the board of directors of Apple once upon a time. And the company then spiraled, stopped really creating. There was a lot of different challenges, and he came back. And when he came back, um, what's fascinating to me is not only did he make it greater than ever, but he learned the lesson that he didn't have a legacy before. So when he got fired by the board, there was no clear successor that had been taught by him or that had been, mentored by him. So the company really just didn't do well. When he came the second time, he knew he did not want that to happen again. So he invested in really building a leadership bench that could carry on his legacy beyond him. Um, and the universe has a funny way of working out. He gets sick with pancreatic cancer and dies of the disease, right? But this time around, he again leaves the company, not willingly, but he leaves, but he learned the lesson, so he leaves a legacy, in not only Tim Cook, who's done a phenomenal job, even though he's very different than Jobs from a personality
Mhm.
point of view and style and whatnot. But look at, the company keeps innovating, it keeps growing, um, and it continues to be, I would say, in an image to what Jobs
And,
envisioned.
and and preparing for this conversation, and I encourage everybody, that is listening to us to kind of stop for a second and think, when you left your last job, when you left the
Mhm,
job before the last, etc., etc. Is there anything left from your work? And when I was thinking about this, preparing for this conversation with Renee, with you, I was thinking, do I have stories that I can tell where I have put together something that has lasted longer than
mhm,
me in a particular organization, in a particular job? And
mhm.
obviously, I cannot talk about my last Shireen. Shireen, we spoke about
Yes,
you,
yes.
and obviously you're going to play a very important role, and I'm going to be speaking to you probably because I'm going to be mentioned in the book. I don't know if you know about
Yes.
it. So I'm obviously not going to be able to talk about my last job because you know we'll see whether the some of the ideas or concepts or initiatives that I have put in place will survive more than a
Mhm,
year, more than 2 years.
mhm,
But I was looking at the I was looking at the my previous jobs at Compaq, HP, and HP, and I was thinking about what are the legacy, what are the people that I was able to maybe develop, or
mhm,
what are
mhm.
the
Yeah.
product solutions, concepts, ideas
Mhm, mhm,
that I have put in place, and there were a few uh, ideas or concepts that survived longer than I
mhm,
did.
mhm,
One thing that came to my mind, Rene, was many years ago, 2004, I
mhm,
took a job in Poland at HP,
mhm,
running the enterprise service and storage division. And it was very interesting because together with a student that I hired as an internship, we developed a system that would help to bridge several pieces of data, several data streams,
mhm,
into a very comprehensive overview of it was obviously for the sales process, so we could track the pipeline, how the
mhm.
pipeline turns into the quoting system, how the quoting system, that was before Salesforce, of course,
Yeah. Mhm,
the quoting system, and then the orders would turn into revenue. So I could really track, before it was not possible, I could really track end to end kind of a sales
mhm.
process. And kind of a challenge the salespeople when they would tell me, hey, Magic, the order is going to come next week. And then I would look at the, situation
How
and say,
is it
like,
possible?
how is it possible if you didn't have a quote yet, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
because I was working with the student, Piotr has put the working file on a SharePoint, and he called it Magic.
Aw.
Believe it or not, a few years later, when I visited Poland, when I moved out to the EMEA and the worldwide job, and then I came to
Mhm.
Poland, they were still using the Magic file
I love it. Mm.
because everybody got used to it. So it
Mhm,
was really, like a lot of people within the sales organization appreciated the capabilities that we have put in place, and the
mhm,
Magic file was still out there, and there were people that were managing the sales organization using it. Obviously, when Salesforce was deployed and some of the other, the student left the company and there was nobody able
mhm,
to maintain it anymore. It got
mhm,
replaced by something else. But there was one of the examples when I left a legacy that lasted several years, really. and
mhm.
and I have more stories like that I can tell. Manuel says happy birthday.
Gracias, Manu. Thank you, Manuel. Manuel is in Texas. He's one of my wonderful coaching clients. And
Yes, Manuel.
yeah,
Thanks for joining us on the call today. We have like 20 people, so I think I should be hearing more happy birthday wishes from anybody that is watching.
I love
It's
it.
just to remind everyone, Renee's birthday, 50th birthday.
Yes.
I'm allowed to say that because she
Yes.
announced it before me.
Yes. He did
So it's
ask. He's like, "Am I allowed to say?" I'm very proud that I have walked this earth for 50 years. It's a true blessing, so no shame in it at all. Yes.
yeah, so more happy birthday. So anyway, so going back, I think there is a legacy that you want to leave as a leader,
Mhm.
not only by deploying magic files, but more by deploying and supporting people. Oh, Michelle, there you
Gracias,
go, another
Michelle.
one. Michelle, happy
Yes.
birthday from Michelle, Rana.
Thank you, Michelle.
So you wanna obviously okay, what a blessing.
Yeah,
So
what
so
what I would say, right, is, again, people have to define legacy in their own ways, and sometimes I'm a little dramatic, and I ask people if you were to not be here on this earth tomorrow, what would you want people to say about you? What would you want your legacy to be, right? Of course, leaving a legacy of love in your family is one that comes up often. But you look at it, we all contribute to society and to humanity in big and small ways. And what I encourage people to do is really be intentional with with your life, and that will result in a legacy. You will leave a legacy out of that, whatever that might be, right? And it doesn't have to be as grandiose as Steve Jobs, who really changed the world with the iPhone.
yes.
Honestly, right? That is something that for years to come. Albert Einstein, I was talking to somebody the other day, right? Those types of people that really have lived on. Um, my husband's reading Nietzsche because he wants to read it, and I'm like, and as he reads it, he's like, the man was a little sexist and masochistic and misogynistic and I don't know, he's like, I don't understand why, but good or bad, he's left a legacy, right?
No,
um
there's many leaders like that, and I was,
mhm,
in preparation for this call, I was also thinking, what are the people that left a legacy, and obviously, in Eastern Europe, you cannot
mhm.
stop thinking about, like Lenin and Stalin,
Stalin. Mhm,
whether
mhm,
you like them or not. I mean, I don't,
mhm, mhm.
just for the record, but obviously there is a lot of, still legacy that they left, Marx and this
Right,
whole communist
right.
arena.
Mhm.
I, I don't want to go into this into this discussion.
Yeah.
I think as a leaders, Renee, and this is another aspect of our conversation that I prepared for today is it, it's we shouldn't count on a fact that we're gonna leave a legacy.
Right,
I
correct.
think we should really proactively go and work on what I call. And I prepared a little bit of a slide here,
Oh, I
what we
love it.
call a succession planning. Okay,
Mhm, mhm.
and and uh, that means that you should prepare for the
Oh, you
for
did it with the legacy, with I love how you do this with the letters. Yes, I love that. Okay, sorry, keep going. I just noticed it and I had to, and you did it in red to honor me, I suspect. Keep going.
absolutely. So what you need to do is you have to think about what's going to happen. You need to be
Mhm,
proactive about it. And
mhm.
again, it's not about leaving a system that has been used by people
Right.
that's going to be used by people.
Mhm.
It's the leaders that you're going to put in place that will carry your system and your
Right.
process and your concept, your idea, and they will keep on implementing it and modify it and fine tuning, and they will add their own piece to the
Mhm.
puzzle, but they will kind of carry the torch for you.
Yeah.
And I've identified like 6 areas that you need to focus on to make sure that you have a successful succession plan. And
Mhm,
the number one is you need to look for leaders with potential. You need to look for people within your organization
mhm,
that will have potential
mhm.
to take over from you and carry the torch for you
Yeah.
into the future. Yeah. So it starts with the leaders selection.
Mhm, mhm. And this is actually, so, I again was very fortunate to be at a company like HPE. There were so many excellent people, of all walks of life, right? All genders and cultural backgrounds. And I was able to travel the world, meeting with all these bright minds. And this was one of my favorite things. I would be able to identify those people that had such huge potential, and sometimes they didn't even think that being a leader would never really crossed their mind. And again, I invite people to understand that begins with you. Right? You need to lead yourself, but also, you don't need a title to be a lead. You don't need to be anointed with a title from the organization to be a leader. There's a lot of leadership potential out there, and you can be a leader in your community, you can be a leader in the office. I remember there were different people, this might seem silly, but there were different people that were really interested in making sure that they knew everyone's birthdays, everyone that was having a significant live event, like an engagement or a wedding, or a baby was coming, right? And these would be the people that would lead the celebration pieces, right? And then there were people that would lead, there were some people that were very passionate about technology. So they would create these informal circles to educate and develop others. I remember when we were rolling out Green Lake across the different sales centers, we had some really talented young minds that really took a hold of it, and particularly in the Barcelona sales center. It was amazing. And they really took this concept of as a service, and just had great success teaching the other people. So there's many ways to do it, and one is identify, and then the second is that, right, start educating and developing. Use what you know, use what you're passionate about, and start passing that on.
It's you select the leaders, then the next step, as you said, is to educate, invest in education development. We advocated many times throughout those series of our discussions
Hmm.
the importance of investing in the education and development. And
Yeah.
yes, first of all, you need to pass your knowledge to the your potential successor.
Hmm.
But also, I mean, don't forget about really investing in the education, and many companies offer internal trainings.
Yeah.
Many companies offer an ability to support financially the MBA
Hmm.
course or other type of courses or certifications.
Hmm.
Proactively go about those guys and make sure that you invest in them. And
Hmm.
a form of investment is obviously offering a guidance, mentoring, and coaching.
Hmm.
Uh, to the selected leaders that you have, but also generally speaking, I think we had this discussion about mentoring and
Yeah.
coaching last week, and I think uh, it's an important topic to cover.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah,
You
it was. I also was fortunate in having large teams, and one of the things I would do is I would I'm going to go back up a little bit, right? You don't just pick one successor. I would always
Oh
pick
yeah.
at least three, right? Why? Because people have different situations, right? And I would always be developing at least three people in my direct staff to immediately take over whatever my role was. And I joke that I would be working myself out of a job, right? That was my goal. Teach it to somebody else, or give as much as I could of my knowledge and what I brought to the table, so that they could take over one day. But it was usually more than one, because people have different aspirations, and maybe today they say, yes, I want to have your job one day, but maybe tomorrow something better presents, or somebody else presents, or they have a life event that doesn't allow them to continue with their career, right? And of course, the guidance, mentoring, and coaching we've talked a lot about. One of my favorite ones is the assessing regularly and adapting. Um, Continuous feedback was and continues to be a big practice for me with my people. It is important to deliver candid feedback, but deliver that with a lot of care and love. So Kenya and Pravinka on the line, right? Both of them were in my direct staff, different times. And we would have these care and candor sessions with the direct staff. And we would lock ourselves in a room, right? And we would sit in a circle and really have very candid conversations around how we could improve, including me. I was in the hot seat, right? They would put me in the hot seat, exactly, the care and candor, and they would put me there. And in that moment, in those sessions, we were all equal. There was no hierarchy, right? Because we can all improve. And that's an important practice. And we did it every 6 months. We would assess regularly. We would also, uh, do a survey and apply a lot of different mathematical things to, how the employees felt about their leaders and the leadership team and so forth. But super important.
I think many companies have already some mechanisms that allow to assess and adapt the situation. So
Hmm.
we all use the heavily the survey that was done on a regular basis at
Yeah. Hmm.
HPE to assess. Uh, I
Uh-oh.
would do that to
Did
assess
I lose
my
you,
my
Magic?
managers, right? I'm here, Renee.
Oh, we lost Magic. Oh, there he is. You're back.
Oh, strange, because I thought I'm always all the same time. Okay. Anyway, so I would use this the survey
Hmm.
uh, to regularly uh, look at my managers and then sit
Hmm.
down with them and help them, because I agree with you. You need to choose more than one successor,
Hmm.
not only because people have different situations, but also people have different skills, and those skills will develop in a
Yep.
different ways.
Hmm.
So I think it's don't put your eggs in one basket, basically.
Yes. Yes.
Uh, I wanted to talk for a second about also about communicate transparently.
Hmm.
I think you should be telling people that you intend to promote them or advance them their
Hmm.
career.
Yep.
Obviously, if you have an intention to do that,
Hmm. Hmm.
because I've seen the situations when people were telling me, I'm going to promote you, but then they would do nothing about it.
Hmm.
Uh, but I need to tell about one situation that I came across several months ago, when I got a call I had a conversation with a pretty senior person from another company.
Hmm.
I did not expect this call, and did not expect this conversation at all. But he called me and we had a chat, and he said like he wants to get to know me a little bit better.
Hmm.
And at the end of the conversation, he said, Magic, I wanted to talk to you because I've been observing you for some time,
Hmm.
and I have put you on my succession plan. So you are in
Yeah.
our company, you are on my succession plan, and I want
Oh.
you to know about this.
Hmm.
And I felt like I felt extremely well, obviously, and I felt very grateful for the open communication about it.
Hmm.
And frankly saying, I started to look at this company and get some interest
Hmm.
in what this company does, what are the
Hmm.
advantages, disadvantages, ideas. So kind of internally, I started to prepare myself. If there is a call one day, they're
Yeah.
gonna call me and they say, hey, look, the time has come. This very senior manager has decided
Hmm.
to move to another job or was
Hmm.
promoted,
Hmm.
whatever. We want you to
Hmm.
potentially step in or take part in the uh, in the selection process.
Yeah.
I want to be ready in a
Yeah.
way, which
Hmm.
means that I'm already finding out, and I'm also kind of preparing myself a little bit for a potential succession for this very senior gentleman.
Hmm.
I think it's important that if you put somebody on the succession planning, that you somehow, you know, communicate that,
Yes. Hmm.
not in like, hey, it's a
A
done deal, you
guarantee,
wanna
right? There's no
go,
guarantees.
you take
Hmm.
over, because that's not the message that you wanna
Right.
give.
Hmm.
But at the same time, you wanna give a message, hey, look, let's work, together on the
Hmm.
succession planning. If I take another job, you might take over. You might be the next in line, and there's more than
Yeah.
you. There's maybe two, three other people that I
Right.
consider, but
Hmm.
you're definitely on the list. And let's think about the areas that we could improve together.
And it goes back to the education and development that you have, a couple of
And
work.
coaching,
Yeah.
mentoring, and
Yes.
the support.
Yes.
It gives
Yeah.
you a little bit of a reason to call with an employee to have this conversation.
Yeah.
Um,
What I love about what you just said, though, too, is, and I'm going to kind of highlight it in case people didn't catch it, is that the person does not have to be within your immediate organization or your company, even, right?
yeah.
And I think a lot of people limit their possibilities of succession selection, if you may, by just thinking myopically into, oh, it has to be within my organization or within my company. And I want to make sure that people kind of open the aperture, right? That it can be very much someone, especially now, we have so much ability to expose our own styles and to give people a flavor for what other people do through LinkedIn or through YouTube and podcasting. And it really opens up the possibilities immensely. As a leader, you have many more options.
Yes, to connect with others, to network, to
Hmm.
kind of talk. And like, I see a lot of networking opportunities that I kind of
Hmm.
attached only a little bit when I was at HPE,
Hmm.
uh, that I wish I have leveraged even more
Yeah.
in the past, so I could stay a little bit more connected with the external world.
Hmm.
Um, the last point on my list is your departure plan.
Hmm.
And again, uh, make sure that you prepare a
Yeah.
transition out.
Hmm.
Not always you can
Hmm.
do that, because obviously sometimes there is a situation when the you need to leave for another job very
Hmm.
abruptly,
Yeah.
or there is some kind of a unfortunate situation when the leader is no longer there.
Hmm.
But I think, other than that, I had employees that would leave their job very abruptly and
Yeah.
not transition their responsibilities to the new person.
Hmm.
um, and it always leaves a very bad taste in the mouth of the
Yeah.
organization. So nobody uh, nobody will respect you from just dropping the ball, basically.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, and again, it goes back to what's the legacy that you want to leave about yourself, right? For me, I'll tell you, transition plans were big for me. And when I left HPE back in August, um, my manager at the time really paid me a great compliment in recognizing, I sent her my transition plan and she said, wow, Renee, this is comprehensive. It's easy to understand. And she's like, I've never seen anyone really, you know, deliver a transition plan like this, particularly in the circumstances, right? It's no secret. I wasn't necessarily willingly leaving the role,
Hmm.
but the organization was changing and the role needed a different leader. And, I, I quickly wanted to make sure that whoever came in, right, had they might decide to not do any of the initiatives that were there. But I didn't want to just say, okay, this was not my decision and this was not, it's fine, I'm leaving, figure it out. Because that's just not me. and I don't want to leave that to be the last thing somebody remembers about me. So it took me a whole week of very focused time, a week that I could have spent trying to, find a different role, but I didn't want to do that. I didn't think that that was fair to the people that I represented, or to the people in my team, or to my leader, and I really wanted to make sure that I did an excellent job at closing things out, or leaving things in a way that someone else could pick them up and go. So it's everything that you do is a representation of who you are, and it's important that you leave a legacy of, hey, they took pride in their work. Here are and this is uh, this is what they would have seen or done for the organization. And it's a suggestion, it's a recommendation, but at least it's a recipe book. You can follow it or not, right? But at least I did my part, in feeling, in leaving a really good plan, and in transitioning that in a way that honored the person that I am, right? It's not about anybody else, right? In that case, it was leaving my legacy. So
And
yeah.
another way of looking at your departure plan is to prepare your organization in a way.
Hmm. Hmm.
And this is, this goes back to the discussions that we had in several of those meetings in the series,
Hmm.
which is basically about the delegation. So
Hmm.
preparing your organization for your departure by delegating and enabling and empowering people to act on your behalf, so they can
Hmm.
test themselves
Hmm.
while they are still while you are still in the job.
Right.
And I think that's, one of the recommendations. I'm always trying to be extremely practical. So one of the recommendations that I typically give to my fellow managers and VPs and directors, and I say, well, you make sure that you can go on vacation.
Hmm.
You make sure that you can go on vacation to
Yes.
places where there is no coverage. If
Right.
you can go
Like you
for a week,
do. You go to the mountains, and
I, I on
and
purpose, I
yes, you go
purposely
far
went.
away.
I could always trust my team.
Yes.
There was not a single situation, and I've been a manager. I think my first people management job I took in 2002. So
Hmm.
it's been quite a
Yeah.
20 years of leadership roles.
Hmm.
And I could always trust my team to take over. I
Yeah.
could go, to the mountains or the high seas, or I
Yeah.
could disappear for a week, and I knew that the organization, that I could
Be
trust
fine.
my team, that
Hmm.
there will be somebody picking up bits and pieces, that everything is well organized,
Right.
and nothing will fall apart.
Hmm.
um, and there was never a crisis for the
Hmm.
20 plus years that I've been a manager.
Hmm.
There was never a crisis, not because I was so great, because I sometimes left a mess,
Uh-huh.
but because the organization was prepared
Hmm.
uh, to take over. And again, as I said, I'm no longer working for HP, and I started a lot
Hmm.
of interesting initiatives while I've been there.
Hmm.
Uh, I see from the communication that is going on that a lot of those initiatives are still going on.
Hmm.
So it looks like the organization could function without me. And there is an incredible SMB and mid-market organization at HP that picked up
Hmm.
what I left, and they continue to push those initiatives forward.
Hmm.
Obviously, there are changes, and some of the ideas that I had were dropped or
Yeah.
modified or adjusted. That's a normal thing.
Yeah.
But I think that the generally speaking, the Top Achievers Club, the Engage and
Mhm.
Grow, the things that I have put in place together with my team. I didn't do it by myself. Are still are still moving forward. I hope they deliver great results like they did when
Yeah.
a year ago. Okay.
Yeah.
So prepare your departure plan by either ideally both.
Yeah.
Get your organization ready for your departure, delegate,
Mhm.
empower, and coach people, And then when you are leaving,
Yeah.
prepare a handover documentation,
Yeah.
guidelines, maybe leave your phone behind so people can call
Mhm.
you and get this extra uh, this extra information when you are no longer there.
Yeah. Even and I'm going to stress it again, even when it's not your choice, right? We're in
Oh
tech.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Tech changes rapidly. I'll tell you, I had a lot of salespeople that would leave willingly sometimes and sometimes not. And they just would not transition any information about their customers. They did not, have any, because of course you have the stuff that's in the CRM systems, but there's other kind of more kind of meaty things that happen in the relationships that people can transition and communicate, right? So as and I'm starting a series on loss or layoff survivor syndrome, but also loss in general. And I just want to stress, right? Even if you're leaving your job in a fashion that is not what you would have selected, make sure that the legacy that you leave behind is one that speaks to who you are as a leader, as a person, as a professional, right? It'll be the best thing you can do for your own career, honestly, because people remember the last thing that you did. But it's also the best thing you can do for your customers and the best thing you can do for your teammates. So please make sure that you consider that. And it can be hard because if you're leaving as a result of a restructuring or a WFR or whatever, you're feeling there's a lot of emotions, right? When those things happen.
True, but there's Renee. I think first of all, we need to be adults about it, okay?
Yes.
And
Hmm.
secondly, I need to say you can also choose whom you hand over to.
Yes.
So if you are having a
Yes.
rough, if you are leaving involuntarily and you are having a big disagreement with your boss, okay,
Uh-huh.
and your boss is kind of not the person that you want to talk to anymore, okay,
Yep.
if you cannot force yourself to talk to your boss anymore,
Yes.
uh, there's another part of the organization, there are your employees that they should
Yes.
have a very clear directions or information so you know
Continue.
uh,
Mm.
they can continue. The other managers, maybe your peers, that could be
Yep.
informed or
Yep.
enabled or that can get the guidance on what needs to be done. I mean,
Mhm.
in the ideal world, your team will know what to do and things will
Yep.
not fall apart and everybody knows where the things are.
Yep.
That's ideal. And if you
Mhm.
cannot talk to your boss, at least talk to your own organization and
Yep.
just make sure that people understand what are the bits and pieces and what's going on in the organization. I mean, that's a
Yep.
minimum that you should be doing, I guess.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. We
I don't
hope.
see any more comments. Oh, there's one more from Kenya.
Ah,
Very, very, very rightful. Another reason why having mentors is important. They could coach you to be the next candidate for the roles if you're
yeah.
interested in. Yes. I don't see many more happy birthday wishes, so I'm gonna say happy birthday again, Renee. Maybe
Thank you.
some
Thank
more
you.
people that wanna say happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
Um, we did wrap up the 21 laws of leadership. So what's
We
next, Renee?
did. We did. Congratulations to us and to all of you who stuck with us. Again, John Maxwell has talked about leaving his own legacy for a long time. And he does that through his books, but also through his coaching team, which I'm a part of. And I've been blessed to be taught directly by John, which is just as recently as a few months ago when we were in Florida for the he holds an event twice a year where he teaches his coaching staff and face to face. And next, the next thing that we're going to talk about, it's a little shorter, right? But it's very impactful. I love pyramids. Pyramids demonstrate a lot of good things. They're a good visual aid for different things. And in this pyramid, we will be talking about the 5 levels of leadership. And I cannot wait. It's going to be short, a 5-week sprint, but hopefully you will get a lot of great value from it.
Okay. I'm not sure if it's gonna be next week. Maybe next week we need to think how we're gonna sort out the
Yes.
next week because I'm gonna be traveling on
Yes.
Wednesday because I'm flying to LA. So I'll
Yes.
be in LA on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
We'll for sure do a live face to face in Sonoma in 2 weeks.
Magic
Uh,
and I, somebody's got to do the tough job. Magic and I are going to be in this beautiful winery in Sonoma, and we're going to be with a top 100 small business owners, founders, CEOs, and then other leaders in the industry. Actually, Magic, we should post a link to the event so people get familiar. If you are a business owner, a CEO, or anybody that's in the SMB space, we really invite you to explore this organization, maybe become a member of this organization. They have a lot of great resources, and it's our first time attending their event. We're very much looking forward to it.
there will be a lot of influential brands at
Yes.
the event. So I
Yeah.
know that Verizon Business is going to be there. I know that Accenture, Salesforce,
Yes.
Wells
Yep.
Fargo, Meta, the
Yeah.
representatives of those
Dropbox,
organizations.
Alignable. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're going to go there, and we're going to be talking about uh, the collaboration. How can we what are some of the changes that are happening to the SMB and mid-market
Yeah.
space?
hmm
There are some significant shifts that are going to happen. I mean, COVID started a certain revolution, I
Right.
would say, and there will be more ideas. Amazing event. Yes, Kenya is going to be
Yes.
super, super, super interesting. We're going to be talking about big trends that are shaping up the SMB industry. Of course, we will be talking about artificial intelligence because
Of
no
course.
presentation
Yes.
without technology. Did you know there's a very interesting statistic? There are 500 Fortune 500 companies, 500 of them.
Yeah.
Since 2017, the number of times that AI was mentioned in the earnings calls in the top 500 went from a 200 calls in 2017
Uh-huh.
to 400 calls in
Wow.
2023. And I'm pretty sure that in 2024,
Much more.
every Fortune 500 earnings call will mention artificial
hmm
intelligence.
Yep.
It's such a it's such a crazy revolution that is happening, and obviously it's going to impact
Yeah.
uh, the SMB space, along with some of the demographic changes that we have in the SMB organization. But I'm not
hmm
going to reveal my keynote here. I'm going to talk about this in
Yes.
Sonoma,
There.
and
Yes.
for our followers, I still have probably one or two tickets left, discounted tickets left. So if you want to be a part of this fantastic event, just
Take
connect with
advantage of
me.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
take
It's
advantage of it.
take
Connect with
advantage
me
of
on
it.
LinkedIn,
Yeah.
and I give you the codes so you can join us there
Yes.
potentially. Yes. So in 2 weeks we're gonna see each other face to face.
I'm
Finally,
so
Renee,
excited. Yes.
I'm super happy. I'm gonna
Yes.
be able to hand over the present for you as well for your 50th
Ah,
your
thank
50th
you.
birthday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for today. Thanks, Kenya, who has been extremely active today. It's a,
Yes.
it's also a birthday present for Renee, I'm pretty sure. Uh,
Yes.
and other 20 something people that were listening to
Yeah.
us for most
Yeah.
of the time to our conversation. And we'll talk to you in 2 weeks live.
Yes. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.